we have a dear friend of mine and now a friend of ours.
Oh, she's my friend now, too.
She's my friend first, Leah.
Yeah, she was. She's going to end up liking me better, though.
Everybody likes you better. I just talk to everybody. Everybody, we are so excited to introduce, if I could go through all the really cool accolades of being an incredible author, having spoken to the NFL execs at the NFL Combine, I could go into the stages throughout the world that she's spoken on. But what I'll say about my dear friend is that she is real. And she is, man, I'm about to tear up. She is who she says she is. She will cry. I'm just setting the stage because she will cry. But she has been somebody that has poured into Leah and myself, and we have been just honored since we met almost, 2 years ago, something like that, to be able to serve the kingdom together. And God is just so good. And she loves the Lord. And her official title, where she tells you about herself, is not public speaker. It is not author. It is daughter of the Most High King and sacred space holder. Everybody, welcome my dear friend Rachel. Rachel, welcome to our Thursday call.
Oh, yay. I love seeing all these beautiful faces on here. And unless you're naked, come on camera. I always tell people, please wear clothes if you're going to come on camera. You know, we all survived COVID where we didn't know our cameras were on or not. But it's so great to be here with you guys.
I love it. And also, y'all, if you did the COVID meeting, so many people were in suits and they were like in their underwear. So again, just keep it waist up.
and don't go to the bathroom while you're on the
Rachel, will you please just tell people who you are? Obviously, they know who we are as temple keepers and our mission, but let them know who you are, and then we'll just go right on in.
Yeah, thank you. If I call this my elevator pitch, I think everybody needs one. Somebody told me this a long time ago. Everybody you on here, no matter what you do, if you're a business owner, a human being, no matter what you do, you need to be able to tell people what you stand for and what you do in a short amount of time. And my brother nailed it. I'm a daughter of the Most High King. My goal on earth, I was telling somebody earlier, is to be so beat up, used up by the time I get to heaven that God says, well done, my good and faithful servant. And that's my ultimate goal, is to be a reflection of Christ on this earth. I used to be a sportscaster, and I broke a lot of barriers for women. I became the first female host on SiriusXM on their collegiate channels, and one of the very few women out of 870 people in the world to vote for the Heisman, and got to usher in the first 5 years of the college football playoff. So really got to see sports history and be a part of it. But in 2019, I walked away from that while I was employed by SiriusXM because a few years earlier in 2016, I saw a problem in college athletics. And that was a summer, if you're a football fan, where it was domestic violence, sexual violence, guys getting in trouble, coaches getting in trouble left and right. And I want you to take notes tonight. We think we're going to remember our lives, but this is inundating us every single day with information that we don't need and we're not equipped to handle. So write this down. God made me a do something girl. And I believe every single person on this call is a do something soul. You're a do something man or woman, Jody. You're a do something woman, Serena. And so you were created to do something. You were created to leave a legacy. And so I was just audacious enough to believe that I could affect change. And God said, I created you to be a do something girl. So I created a movement, y'all. And I didn't even know at the time that I created a movement. Created this curriculum, and I thought I would take it into high schools, even though I was a college football reporter. And I say curriculum, but do not curse the days of small beginnings, y'all. It was a 2-page Google Doc. It was not a curriculum, okay? And so I just jumped, and a friend of mine said, I'm going to get you an FSU football. Never even crossed my mind, even though I was the college football reporter, to do college. So here we are 10 years later, almost done. Our floor is coming up on the elevator. And I've worked with over 100 colleges, many of them multiple times. As my brother mentioned, worked with the NFL front office. I work in prisons, my most proud work, maximum security men's prisons, high schools, junior highs, federal government, police officers, on everything, what I call soul training, which is finding what sets your soul on fire, how to take care of your own soul, how to have better interpersonal relationships, joy, mental health. And I'm also a best-selling author, as he mentioned, and then I'm working on my second book. But in addition, and the most, even more important than that, is I'm a wife and I'm a bonus mom to 4 beautiful children. And I'm incredibly blessed despite the trials that I have been through in my life.
That was great. And that was just the opening.
If y'all know me, I don't go speechless often. And Rachel is one of the few people that can make me do that. I feel like we just had an entire movie and then the title just popped up. And you're like, "Well, it's not over." Okay.
Yeah.
That is absolutely beautiful. I have so many questions. I have so many things that I think can serve our audience, our brothers
Yes.
and sisters. And I want to pause and step back because I messed up already. And I'm going to see if Leah, now that you've introduced yourself, will open us in prayer.
Yes.
Okay. Dear Heavenly Father, we just come to you in just awe again of who you are
Jesus.
and all that you have done, all that you're currently doing, the things that we have absolutely no clue of. Lord, thank you for creating us. Thank you for choosing us to be your image bearers. Thank you for choosing us to be do something people. Wow, you have chosen us to do your work, to be the hands and feet, Lord. So I just ask that you open our hearts tonight, open our minds, and just allow Rachel to speak to us, to share the truths that you want us to hear. We ask all of this in your name. Amen.
Amen. Woo!
Hey, and I'm sorry they're almost done, but wouldn't it be? It's just fate that my lawn people are here right now. So if y'all hear that in the background, I'm like, yeah.
Love it. So there's got to be somebody in this room wondering, okay, Matthew and Leah help people get in shape God's way. Rachel talks to NFL execs and college people and helps men in prison ministries. How does this work together? And I think that's a great question if you're wondering it, because on the surface, it doesn't. But it makes me think of 1 Thessalonians 5:23, to be found blameless body, soul, and spirit. And so often we disconnect the body, the soul, and the spirit. And you have come so far and done so much, but you didn't just walk into this. You were drug by your hair into it, as you talk about in your book. How, and you also mentioned how distracted we are by our phones, by life, and we're inundated. And so no wonder so many people are struggling because they're trapped in that abusive relationship, that abusive childhood, and now they're here distracting themselves. Rachel, can you get us from there to here?
I can. It's going to sound like it's incredibly simple, but it's not. But this is what I call soul homework. This is for you to go home and do. This is not for right now, Katrina, but this is soul homework. And so the first piece of homework I have for you is actually, this is number 2. The first one was, I may do something, girl. I'm going to do something, guy. In what? What were you created to do? If you don't know what that is, and I'm not talking about earning money, your purpose may be something that you earn money from. It also may be a passion project. It might be a soup kitchen you help start. It might be land you tried to save. I'll tell you about that later on. It might be any of those things. So that's number 1. Ask God. You don't have to be clear. It was long before I actually started I'm Changing the Narrative, and we're in the 10th year, where I felt like I was at the optometrist and I knew something was coming, but I couldn't see what it was yet. And God had not revealed it yet. He was preparing me. So that's 1. 2, and let me be very, very, very clear here. With the help of the Lord, you must forgive all the different versions of you. You will never have peace in your current life until you sit with, in prayer and meditation, until you sit with all the different versions of you from childhood to now who made decisions that maybe you would not make now. Okay. And true freedom did not, first of all, true freedom came with salvation for me, but I was running from God for so long and backslidden. But true peace in my soul beyond my salvation, of loving myself. And I believe I'm an image bearer, just like you are. We are made in the image of Christ. God did not. Don't you think it makes God sad that we're running around down here hating ourselves, hating our body, hating dogging ourselves? Do you know that scientifically, as can work with faith, the nervous system believes what you tell it. So if you tell yourself you're fat, sick, stupid, not worthy, a loser, this, that, and the enemy loves to come and throw your past in your face. And so until you make peace with all the different versions of you, you will never truly have peace in your current body.
That's so good, because people talk about forgiveness, but they talk about forgiving other people, but you
Right here.
very rarely hear it forgiving yourself. It's
Yep.
powerful.
I had an instance recently where in prayer, I saw myself go into the apartment that I used to live in while I was a full-blown addict. I was a cocaine addict for 9 years. I had progressed to the point of selling it. And, when you progress to the point of selling it, you're contributing to the delinquency of somebody else and another family and doing, really, really bad damage. And all the while, y'all, I was doing this secret life, not so secret. And I was climbing the ladder as a sportscaster. I was going up to ESPN and interviewing and all these things. Had a double life. When God, at the end of that, said, he gave me a vision. And the vision was, I created you for more than this. You're going to end up breaking your family's heart, dead, in jail, killing somebody else. You are a runaway train going the wrong way down the track. And unless you come home to me, this is what your life is going to end up like. And he never stopped pursuing me in my iniquity. And that was at 29. But recently, I had some shame and some guilt over decisions that I made when I was an addict. And recently in prayer and meditation, I saw myself walk into the apartment where I lived. And this is going to sound hokey, but I'm sold out. Okay. So just follow me on this. I went, Leah, Matt, and everybody on here. I went and sat down next to 28-year-old Rachel. And she was very thin and very broken. And I told her that I forgave her for the decisions that she made. I told her I loved her. I told her that there was joy and peace on the other side and that she was going to make it and that I forgave her for the decisions that she made that would crop up every once in a while, y'all, for another 15 years. Every once in a while, I would get this just apex of shame hit me right in the gut. I don't know if anybody on here wants to be bold enough to say me too, but it'll hit you and like, thank you. In the grocery store parking lot, I did that. I hurt that person. I made that decision. And until you make that bold decision to sit with yourself, and it may take more than once, and ask Jesus to help you with it, you will not truly be free in this moment until you make peace with your past versions.
To speak into that, as you know, former addict and someone that has cheated on every person he's ever. There are times where I struggle. There are times where I go to her and I'm like, I'm struggling. And there are times where I go to people in my past where God presents them and I say, I'm sorry. But the hardest one of them all is forgiving yourself. And every time you think you break free and break through, another chance and something else is revealed where you have to do it again.
Yes, yes.
Will you speak into that? Will you speak into basically that for every new level, there's a new devil.
Yes.
For every layer you peel back, there's another one that's going to make you cry even more, and how that is the refining that gets us closer to him.
So I heard a pastor, and mark this name down. He's one of the, I think, greatest pastors to be preaching at this moment. He pastors a church called Free Chapel in Atlanta, Georgia, and his name is Jensen. Hey, Josh. His name is Jensen, Jentz, Jentezen, Jensen Franklin.
Great.
It's amazing. Okay. And so if you've never heard of him, please, another thing, can I give you tips? I'm always teaching. Josh knows this. And Josh is from my network, my group, and it's so good to see him. So I do this because I'm busy and we're around the house and I'm working and I listen to sermons on YouTube. So if I'm moving and I can't, and so that is the way I get into the word in the morning. I listen to sermons, I listen to praise music, and that prepares me for my day. The other thing I do is my mom I love him, Katie. I love him. My mom was a terrible singer, and so am I, but we used to take walks in the morning. She's in heaven. I lost her to cancer. She got her ultimate healing in heaven 7 years ago. And she used to sing, "This is the day that the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it." So when my eyes open, I start singing that to myself. Okay. And I say, Rachel, this day will never come again. This day is a gift. Your children will not be the same age. Your husband will not be the same age. Nothing is promised. You're not promised another day. You can't do anything about yesterday, but you can do something about today, the present. That's why it's called a present. And so Jensen Franklin said this. You said new levels, new devils, Matt. Jensen Franklin said, when when the U.S. government was hunting Osama bin Laden, he had something like 37 people assigned to him, only to him, right? And what are we talking about? Only to him. It's because, you ready for this? Write it down. He was a high value target. In the same way, the sermon said, and he said, you are a high value target for the enemy. If you have decided to treat your body as a temple, if you've decided to get your health in order, to teach your family better, if you've decided to break generational curses around food or addiction or having a better marriage or being a different kind of parent than what you got, then baby, you are a high value target for the enemy. He is going to send every sort of demon from hell, every sort of distraction, every sort of temptation your way just to see if he could get you. So I heard somebody say one time, and I love it. They said, I want to be the kind of woman, and I am. When I put my feet on the floor, hell quakes because they say, dang it, she's up again, and what is she going to do with her time today? So I have now begun to look at y'all spiritual warfare, which I feel like I'm in about 90% of the time. That doesn't mean I don't have peace and joy and love. It means I am constantly being by the enemy because I'm pushing for new levels, because he is giving me new territory, Jabez. And so now I've gotten to a place where I look at spiritual warfare and look at being attacked as an honor, because it means I'm a soldier for Christ, baby.
And it makes me think instantly, not only are you a high value target for the enemy, but you're a VIP.
Yes.
And I know whose side I'm picking.
Yep.
Now, I got to ask you this. We're talking about forgiving ourselves. How does that coincide with forgiveness of others? Does that also play a role?
I think you've got to ask, at least I do, and I'm going to tell you how I do it. I gotta ask every day, create in me a clean heart. Because if it's up to me, I will be a bitter Betty. Like if it's up to me, you don't want it to be up to me. My flesh is, Lisa, my flesh is rotten. Like the best parts of me, Chrissy, are Jesus. That's the best part to me. So I have to ask myself, I'm upset with somebody to do with my husband's business that did him wrong. And I have to ask and make sure that I can be upset with him, but Lord, help me work on that doesn't turn to hatred because you hurt somebody I loved, and love. And so I think as it is a constant reconciling of the spirit, both for myself and both for somebody else. I heard somebody say, I just posted it recently. It was so good. I think Daryl Black is his name, Pastor Daryl Black. He said he started to have business meetings with God every Monday morning. I'm like, what? And God is his CEO. And he goes into this meeting. Come on, baby, go sit there. Go sit there. He goes into this meeting and he says, God, what do you want me to work on this week? What do you want me to focus on this week? What are my goals? What are my targets? What do you want me to hit? What do you want me to put aside? What do you want me to put to the end of the pile? What do you want, God? Because you are my CEO. And I said, woo, Lord, I had never thought about it that way. And y'all, I'm not an influencer anyway, but I am not one of these people that will go and take other people's ideas and try to pass them off as my own. Josh knows me. Like I'm always going to try to cite the source can. But I saw that. So it's another thing you could write down, beginning of the week, make time, sit down with him and say, God, I'm going to go into a business meeting with you. How do you want me to run my life? You are my ultimate CEO. I do have to work and do those things, and I want to be honorable in those, but you're my ultimate CEO.
That is wonderful, because so many of us were busy doing so many good things, but just because we're doing good things doesn't mean that it's the God things.
Yep. And we can easily, God hit me with this. I was thinking about it, and then he hit me with it in the sermon. We can make good things idols too.
Absolutely. Yes, we do all the time.
It was revealed in me recently after I had 3 stints put in January 17th. I preach all the time that our exercise and movement is not about us. The way we eat is not about us. It's an act of stewardship, and it's to glorify the Father. I can tell you right now that there's a reason that we have to crucify the flesh daily. The Holy Spirit casts out demons. We cast out demons with him, through him. But the crucifixion of our flesh is us daily. And when I went back to the gym and looked at myself in the mirror, and it was like, man, my abs are gone. And then a guy at the gym goes, hey man, you got skinny through here. And I was like, bro, And then I'm in the gym, and it's not to make it about that, but they just creep in. They creep in, and we say it every day. But if we're not careful, even a good thing can get twisted. It's like C.S. Lewis said, why choose murder if cards will do the trick? It's the slight little thing.
Mhm.
Could be your spouse, could be your kids. So good. So you did not have it easy. I mean, there was abuse. There was a lot of that. Can you speak into, there's a lot of people that I speak with that are struggling with food. Okay. But it's not the food. It's here because there's so much hurt and there's so much pain. And maybe they will start to forgive themselves and that other person today. But what can you speak into that man or woman that's just struggling because of the abuse as a child, the abuse that they've undergone at the hands of a man or a woman? How did you get, again, how did you get here? I know it's not simple.
Okay. So first thing I want you to write down is it's a coping mechanism. It's a coping mechanism. When we pick up something that we know is really terrible for us, but it feels good in the moment, I can tell you 9 times out of 10, it's a coping mechanism. When somebody says who imbibes and they say, oh, I've had such a stressful day, I need a cocktail. That's a coping mechanism, right? When somebody says, you know, and I'm a huge person against this because I've seen it destroy marriages. And somebody says, well, I'm not, getting intimacy inside my marriage, so I'm going to turn to porn. That's a coping mechanism. And it's destroying life after life after life and marriage after marriage and young boys and the sacredness of their souls. And by the way, if you have young sons, period, whatever age, their souls are just as sacred as a young woman's soul. So I work a lot with men, and we are teaching men how to protect, provide, perform. And that's great. That's part of masculinity. But I'm also teaching them how to love themselves, how to articulate boundaries, how to express their emotions, because a man and a woman, thank God, are built differently. Men, their first deal is not to communicate effectively. That's a woman's, by and large, a skill that a woman has. So I work a lot with young men. So I just needed to say that on the side. But first of all is to identify this as a coping mechanism. So I'm going to give you, I teach like this, and hopefully I'll get to follow a lot of you after this. But I teach mask off, very vulnerable, radically vulnerable is what I call it. In the first couple of years of my marriage, I've been married 5 years in December, been with my husband 9 years. First couple of years of my marriage, anytime we fought, I said to him, I want a divorce. Okay. I would go, Kelly, and stay in hotels. Now, I didn't do anything wrong. I would just go stay in a hotel until one day, Matthew, my husband said to me, hey, by the way, that's a trigger for me. That's you leaving is a big trigger for me. And oh, by the way, every time you say the D word, like that's just like, are you in or are you out? And so what I had to figure out through a lot of, and here's the other thing, y'all ready for this? I'm a life coach. I'm a teacher. You got to look in the mirror and do the work. For many years, Lisa, I pointed the finger at other people. It's their fault. It's his fault. It's their fault. And until I started looking in the mirror and got a coach myself and went and hired a marriage coach without telling my husband. And she said, hey, sis, by the way, it's you. Okay. But until I did that, and what she helped me to understand was running one and saying the D word were coping mechanisms that I picked up, Moira, in my childhood. I saw my mom run. Okay. And she ran because we were in an abusive household, and it was a need. But I also, I didn't, that was my, I didn't want a divorce. I wanted, here's your real, I wanted him to say, no, I love you. No, come close. No, love me. Right. So I thought in pushing him away, this is how messed up I was. And this is how, as humans, right, without God, I thought if I pushed him away, he'd say, no, don't leave. No, I don't want that. Men are literal. Okay. You want that? You're leaving. So I would say you have to identify, guys, what your negative coping mechanisms are. I've started to turn my coping mechanisms into positive. When I'm stressed out, I start, girl, you doing a good job. Girl, you doing, I sing, I dance, I encourage myself. I laugh at myself. I will do nervous system exercises when I'm stressed out. I've changed those coping mechanisms to something positive, y'all. Now, one last thing and I'll shut up. You have to give yourself grace. As far as my husband and I have come, Lisa, there are still some times where we go back and snap back into I call them rusty old bear traps, where he goes back into his former coping mechanisms, and I go back into mine. All of a sudden, I'm yelling, and he's doing this. And then we look at each other about 15 minutes later and go, well, that was stupid. We are way better than that. That is really dumb, you know? So what am I saying? I'm saying you're not going to do it perfect all the time. You have to give yourself some grace. You are going to fall back, and then you're going to repent, and you're going to get it right, because you're a human being. If you had it all figured out and you were perfect, you'd be a dog. You'd also be God. And we're not God, and certainly we're not dogs. You know, that's why I heard from a vet, that's why they live such short lives, is because they don't have to come to the earth and figure out kindness, compassion, forgiveness, love, because they've already got all of that figured out. Yeah.
I love that. Is so good. And I can honestly say that I have never, ever been rude to my wife or been triggered by her.
Never.
Always even tone.
Yes. Yes,
Okay.
Matthew.
It's my mom used to tell me when I was a kid, and it was one of those things that it's incredible how much smarter my parents get as I get older. That for every time you point your finger at someone else, there's three more pointing back at you. And that the only thing we can own is our part. And so where the propensity may be, hey, Leah, you did this, you did this, you did this. Or if it's your past, my parents did this, my parents did this, my parents did this. But what is my role in this? What is my part? And just coming to, even though I may want to lash out and just say, I did this. Will you please forgive me?
Guys, Leah and Matthew. And by the way, Ange said, I'm so sorry. I said, don't be sorry. I loved it. You were protecting your people. Like, I love that. I saw something powerful recently, and I don't know who to attribute this to, but it said, and I use this in my coaching, and it's one of the first things I ask myself is, if I'm in a bad situation, you ready for this? You got to write this down. What part of this suffering do I own? Yeah. What part of this is my own junk? What part of this do I need to apologize for? What part of this do I need to repent for? What part of this does the Lord need to clean out my heart on? And I'll say this, we were talking about forgiveness earlier. My stepdad was the one that abused us from the time that I was 11 till the time I was in my almost late 20s. And when I got married at 42, I met my husband later in life. When I got married at 42, my stepdad walked me down the aisle, because forgiveness is a beautiful thing. God got a hold of my stepfather, who's like my dad. He changed his life. He changed his heart. And come to find out, my stepdad was repeating patterns, again, coping mechanisms that he had seen in childhood. He had had a very, very hard father and a submissive mother and an abusive father. So he was using that same, what he saw, until he recognized that how destructive it was, and God got a hold of him. And now, y'all, he is my best friend. I love that man more than life itself. And he is not my biological father. I adore him and I love him. And that is the power of forgiveness. And if I had listened to the enemy and the world, they would tell me, he abused you. How dare you forgive him? How dare you? That's what the world will tell you. But guess what? I'm not in this world. Or excuse me, I'm not of it. I'm in it, but I'm not of it. And this place is not our home, because y'all are believers. This place ain't my home. I'm just here temporarily. We are going to spend eternity in heaven. And so I don't subscribe to the world's standards, and I live to make God proud and make my family proud. And that's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Don't shut up. Keep
I know.
going.
I was going to say, keep going.
This meditation is called Forgiving Your Past Self and Releasing Shame. Let's begin. Find your breath. Simply breathe. Inhale slowly through your nose and exhale all the way out. Again. A long, slow breath in and a complete, full release. One more time. Breathe in and let it go. Notice your feet. Wherever they are right now, just feel them. Feel the ground beneath you. The steady, solid surface holding you up. Be where your feet are, right here, right now. This moment is the only one that matters. Let your awareness slowly travel up through your legs, your hips, your belly. Take a breath into your chest, and as you exhale, let your shoulders fall away from your ears. Soften your jaw. Let your face relax. Even your eyes can soften behind closed lids. You are safe here. There is nothing to solve right now, nothing to carry, nothing to fix. I want you to imagine yourself walking somewhere quiet, somewhere soft and still. Maybe it's early morning, just before the world wakes up. The air is warm, and there's a gentle golden light all around you. What do you see? Maybe a path through the woods with light filtering through the leaves, or a shoreline where the water is calm and the sand is cool beneath your feet. What do you hear? Maybe birds in the distance, the soft sound of water, or just the quiet of early morning stillness. What do you feel? The air on your skin, the ease in your body, the sense that here you are free. As you walk, you notice someone sitting just ahead of you. You move a little closer, and you begin to recognize them. It's you, a younger version of you. Maybe they're a teenager. Maybe they're in their 20s or 30s. Maybe they're the version of you from 5 years ago or 10. Notice how they carry themselves. Maybe they look tired. Maybe they look a little lost. Maybe they are trying so hard to hold everything together. You sit down beside them, not with judgment, not with disappointment, but with the kind of love that only time and growth can bring. Because you know something now that they didn't know then. They were doing the best they could, with the tools they had, with the awareness they carried, with the wounds they were still learning how to name. Reach out and place your hand over your heart, right now, and let them feel this. I forgive you. I forgive you for not knowing better. I forgive you for the choices made from fear. I forgive you for the times you abandoned yourself, stayed too long, or left too soon. You were not broken. You were learning. Open your heart. Shame was never yours to carry. It was placed on you before you had the language to refuse it. And today, you are choosing to set it down. Inhale compassion. Exhale release. Again, breathe in and let it go. Now say these words with me. Let your whole body receive them. I am not my past. I am the one who kept going. I am worthy of the love I give to everyone else. God, or the universe, or whatever you call that higher force in your life, did not bring you through all of that just to leave you there. You are still here. You are still standing. And that is not an accident. Gently now, begin to bring your awareness back. Notice your feet again. Feel the ground beneath you. Real, steady, present. Simply breathe. One more deep inhale, and as you exhale, let gratitude move through you. Gratitude for where you've been. Gratitude for what you survived. Gratitude for who you are becoming. Find your breath. Be where your feet are. You are not the weight of your past. You are the strength of your return. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time.